Hi guys, welcome back. So at this time of year there's not a lot of international rugby action, but what we can do is look back at 2019 and pick a World 15 of the year. So this is only international matches, and of course the massive weight is being carried by the World Cup, but also the major international championships, the Six Nations and the Rugby Championship. So those are my criteria. I'm going to pick my 15. You guys comment below, pick your 15. Of course, it's a bit of subjective fun, so don't worry if your favourite player is not in my list. This is just how I saw it personally. Okay, starting off in the front row. At number 1 on loose head, I've gone for one of the South African props. I've gone for Kitsoff. I could have gone for Matawarira. You know, 50-50 there. Kitsoff didn't always start, but I thought whenever he played, he had a massive impact, just a huge ball carrier, a huge scrummager, a cornerstone of what South Africa did that year. So I'm starting off with Kitsoff. At hooker, it's tricky. There's a lot of players here that could easily take this mantle. Jamie George, I thought Owens of Wales was brilliant. Cody Taylor of New Zealand is also a fantastic player. And Marks as well of South Africa, a fantastic player. But the player that started for South Africa the most in that World Cup and was really their number 1 and a fantastic all-round player was Mbonambi. He's got to be the hooker for me. Took them all the way to World Cup glory. Of course, South Africa won the Rugby Championship as well, which is why you're going to see a lot of South Africans in this World 15, which I think is only right. So Mbonambi in at hooker. Number 3, 2 big players for me are in contention for this. Mal Herbert of South Africa would have rounded out an all South African front row for this World 15, which wouldn't have been undeserved. But I think Karl Sinkler of England has been absolutely fantastic, handling, ball carrying, and he's added his scrummaging into it. I really think he's a world-class prop now. So he rounds off that front row. Kitsoff, Mbonambi and Sinkler, what a front row that is. Into the second row. Again, you could have filled up this second row with South African second rows, and again, you wouldn't be, far from the truth, to be honest. I thought Alan Wynne-Jones had a fantastic year. You could easily play him, Etzebeth, Snyman, Mostert, but I've actually gone for one South African in Luda Jager. Thought he was just fantastic, regular for South Africa, just a brilliant all-round operator as well as his physicality. And his second row partner, I am making Maro Itoje of England. We know he's a world-class player, but this year has been his best year by miles. He's still got his athletic ability and his nuisance factor, but he's reined in his penalties, which is the one thing he needed to do, and he is a class player, along with De Jager. What a second row pairing. Okay, into the back row. Now, my whole pack just happens to be South Africa and England. That's just the way it's turned out. Please tell me if you were to put in Alan Wynne-Jones, for example, or someone else into my back row, into my second row or my back row, but that's just the way it turned out. At 6, or blindside I should say, is Pieter-Steph du Toit. Yes, he wears 7 on his back, but he plays blindside. That's how they do it in South Africa. He's a monster of a player, fantastic line-out, physicality, that big number 6 you can really build a team around. And with him and their huge second rows, it was part of the reason why South Africa was so successful in 2019. Other players I'd considered, Ardie Savea I've considered for every position in the back row. He is truly a fantastic player. Tom Curry started playing 6 for England in the World Cup, but I've considered him at 7. Wainwright for Wales is a brilliant breakthrough player. I think next year and the year after he's going to be one of the best in the world. Leach, I thought for Japan, was a phenomenal player as well. Leader again. But I've gone for Pieter-Steph du Toit. At 7, I have put Tom Curry in. He's had a fantastic year for England. He's been one of their best players every single game. Again, like I said, I considered players like Ardie Savea, Tipuric, etc. But I've gone Tom Curry, and I know what people are going to say. I didn't put him in my Lions composite team that I made at the end of the World Cup. And as many pointed out, I absolutely should have. And I was still sore from the World Cup, England losing, so maybe I was a bit harsh on him. And in reflection, he's been nominated World Player of the Year. Didn't win it, of course, but I think he's been phenomenal. Put him in his favoured position at 7, alongside Pieter-Steph du Toit. At number 8, It was a battle between the big boys, really. I thought it was between Billy Vunipola and Duane Vermeulen. But hands down, who won that World Cup? It was Duane Vermeulen. He was epic. Whole tournament, just so strong, so consistent. Just, you know, made breaks, made busts, made yards. Very rarely made a mistake. Played a lot of games. Kieran Reid, I thought this year was actually fantastic. After he'd recovered from his injuries, he had a fantastic year. Played very, very solidly to his best. I don't know if we're going to see much more of him, but also Himeno of Japan was brilliant. What a star he is for Japan. But yeah, Duane Vermeulen, hands down, rounds out the pack, and it just happens to be all South Africa and England. That's just the way it fell. If you think someone else should be in there, let me know. 9 and 10. Well, sorry, it's South Africa again. You know, I thought Aaron Smith of New Zealand had a good year. You know, he has some fantastic games. What a class actor he is. Dupont of France is a hell of a player, absolutely. But you can't look past Faf de Klerk. He was everything that South Africa was. You know, their short turnaround in a couple of years to become world championships. He's the heartbeat. So Faf de Klerk in at 9, and alongside Andre Pollard, who was just consummate in that World Cup, just cruised them to victory. Just, you know, a classy player, running, kicking, tackling, decisions, right on top of his game. He was just key to South Africa this year. And I thought Dan Biggar was really good in the World Cup, as was Owen Farrell, so they were in consideration, but has to be Pollard alongside his mate de Klerk. Okay, into the centres. Now, for the centres, I've actually picked 2 players that prefer to play 12, but I think they're the hands-down players for me. Another South African, Damien Dialande, comes in at 12 or 13, and the other player who I thought was just epic in the World Cup was Karevi of Australia. God, he was amazing, just unstoppable. One of the best performances I've seen from a centre in a tournament. So Dialande and Karevi are my centres. Whichever way round you put them, fair enough. If you were to balance it out and put more of a 13 in there, I thought Lafayette of Japan was brilliant. Am of South Africa again was great. Jonathan Davis had a very good year. Slade had a good year. Tuolangi had a good year. Vakatawa of France was very, very dangerous as well. So you could take any mix of those, but I've gone Dialande and Karevi. On to the wings. Some serious contenders. Radradra of Fiji is unbelievable. Just unbelievable. I so nearly put him in, as I nearly put Mapimpi in as well. I thought he was brilliant. Johnny May I thought was fantastic as well. Korobetti just missed out. Tuasova just missed out. Matsushima just missed out. Could have had any of those. But my wingers are Cheslin Kolbe of South Africa. Got to have him. Just a fantastic year for him. So dangerous, proving the little man is still alive and well in World Rugby. And I've gone for Liam Williams. Consistent year for Wales, helped them win the Six Nations, helped them to a really good run in the World Cup. He's such a class act, could have had him at 15 as well, of course did consider him there. And because Wales have had such a great year, I think that just tips him into there. The rest maybe, you know, maybe Mapimpi unlucky there. But I've gone for Liam Williams and Cheslin Kolbe, very happy with those wingers. And at fullback, I've actually gone for Beauden Barrett, transitioning from 10 to 15. Was just brilliant for him. He was so good at doing that. Just their best player by miles. Always dangerous. Had some epic performances this year from Beauden Barrett. Again, I consider Liam Williams as my other potential player there to play 15, but you've got to have Beauden Barrett in your team. He is, I think, still the best back in the world. Anyway, that's my team. Kitsoff, Mbonambi, Sinkler, De Jager, Itoje, Peter Steph du Toit, Curry, Vermeulen, de Klerk, Pollard, Dialande and Karevi in the centres, Williams and Kolbe on the wings, and Beauden Barrett at 15. My World 15 of the year. What is yours? Have a very good holiday period, and I'll see you in 2020.